Welcome to Orb of Treasures, a channel exploring AI, digital systems, psychology, modern business, and the hidden forces shaping the future. Today, we're diving into an explainer that decodes something absolutely massive. We are looking at the invisible architecture of digital capitalism and how it is entirely rewriting the rules of human society. I mean, just look around. We're living right in the middle of this huge, almost terrifying economic transformation. Entire industries are just being displaced. And the big question we really have to ask ourselves from the source data is this: why are some businesses scaling globally at this terrifying speed, while others, legacy institutions that have been around for decades, just silently collapse into irrelevance? The emotional stakes of this digital displacement are just incredibly high. It's no longer just about competing anymore. It's quite literally about survival and an ecosystem that moves at light speed. And here's where the data gets incredibly fascinating. Why are individual creators suddenly becoming these absolute media empires? Seriously, we're watching a reality unfold where literally one person with a smartphone can command more attention, wield more influence, and generate way more revenue than traditional institutions with hundreds of employees. They aren't just competing with the old guard anymore, they're replacing them. So what actually happens when technology changes the rules of power itself? It's kind of like we're crossing this philosophical threshold. For centuries, wealth and power were strictly tied to physical land, factories, and raw materials. But today, the most valuable assets on Earth are completely invisible. Human attention and the digital systems that capture it have become vastly more valuable than physical capital. As we dig into all this, there's this one profound truth from our source material that really anchors everything. It goes like this: strong enterprises are designed, not improvised. If you're just reacting to the market out there, you're already losing. Survival in this new era requires intentional, deliberate architecture. Part 1. The currency of influence. You see, the modern economy has quite literally swapped out traditional currency for the currency of human attention. Before any money actually changes hands, attention has to be captured and then converted. And there is an absolutely crucial distinction here between fame and true influence. Fame is really just being widely known, but influence is the ability to drive trust and economic action. The source material brings up a brilliant example. Take the creator, Mr. Macaroni. When he advertises real estate, people buy from him. Now, is he a realtor? No way. But true influence transcends sectors. People aren't buying physical bricks, they are buying the trust he's cultivated over time. Which naturally brings us to the psychological engine running this whole show, the know, like, trust algorithm. Online platforms are basically engineered to feed us content that builds these incredibly deep parasocial relationships. First, people get to know you. Then, algorithms serve up the exact narratives that make them like you. And finally, all this repeated, intimate exposure builds trust. It is a brilliant and honestly slightly intimidating psychological manipulation that completely transforms passive audiences into intensely loyal buyers. Welcome to Part 2. Architecting global skill. Now, influence, that's really just the front end. What actually sits behind it is staggering. We're shifting now from the psychology of the individual to the almost impossible scale of digital infrastructure. Just to put this into perspective, using data straight from our sources, an AI hardware giant like NVIDIA currently has a valuation that completely eclipses the physical world. It is worth more than all of Manhattan's real estate. It's worth more than the entire NFL. In fact, it is worth more than the GDP of all 54 African countries combined. Let that sink in for a second. Technological leverage has entirely decoupled from the limitations of the physical world. So the real takeaway here? Own the platform, own the economy. The platform owners are our new economic gatekeepers. When YouTube or TikTok or Facebook pay creators massive sums of money, you have to realize a pretty harsh truth. They aren't paying creators out of the goodness of their hearts. As the source material points out, they are merely saying thank you for making the platform owners astronomical amounts of money. Content is simply the infrastructure that keeps people locked inside their walled garden. But to actually reach that level of global dominance, a huge evolution has to happen. It brings up another great point. What scales is rarely what starts. You just cannot build a multi-billion-dollar digital ecosystem using the exact same operational habits of a small startup. Individuals and businesses have to evolve from running simple, manual operations into architecting massive, automated systems. Real quick, if you enjoy exploring the psychology of modern business, AI systems, digital leverage, and the future of human civilization, subscribe to Orb of Treasures and become part of a growing community exploring the deeper systems shaping our world. All right, let's get back to it. But there is a dark side to all this immense scale: the hidden toll. We've talked a lot about the incredible reach and wealth of the digital age, but honestly, the psychological underbelly of this system is brutal. Part 3. The psychological cost. Our sources call this the founder's nightmare because beneath that glossy, perfect surface of digital entrepreneurship lies severe depression, algorithmic dependency, and this epidemic of burnout that is quietly crushing modern digital builders. Let's break down the burden of the builder. The digital pace requires unrelenting output. Founders face extreme information overload, constantly trying to appease algorithms that literally never sleep. There is an immense physical and emotional toll to merely surviving online capitalism today. And on top of that, there is profound isolation in leadership. Founders become trapped inside their own operational loops, consumed by whatever the crisis of the day is, completely unable to step back. And this right here, this is the fatal trap. It's the difference between running the business and leading the business. Running the business means getting stuck in the daily operations, the exhaustion, the immediate fires. Leading the business, on the other hand, requires strategy, building partnerships, and future-proofing. As our source brilliantly puts it, your job is not to run the operations, but to lead the enterprise. If a leader can't detach from the daily operational crisis, that inability becomes the single highest internal risk factor for institutional collapse. You simply can't lead the way out of a crisis if you're physically buried inside of it. Part 4. Building for the decades. So how do we actually escape that trap? How do we harness all this digital empowerment without letting it destroy us? Well, the source material gives us a pretty exact blueprint for longevity. Step 1. Anchor to a core purpose. There has to be a driving philosophy beyond just making a quick buck. Because when the business gets incredibly difficult, and it will, purpose is the only thing that sustains loyalty. Step 2. Hire people smarter than you. As a leader, you provide the direction, but you absolutely need skilled professionals to execute. And step 3, build standard operating procedures. SOPs become your organizational Bible. By documenting every process, you delegate those daily operations, completely freeing yourself up to step back and actually lead the enterprise into the future. Because ultimately, as our analysis shows, durability is the highest form of leverage. Patient capital and resilient, well-documented systems will always outlast the frantic, improvised growth of reckless capital. Enduring organizations think in decades, not quarters. You see, the modern economy is no longer controlled only by factories, land, or physical infrastructure. Increasingly and undeniably, power belongs to those who deeply understand human attention, digital systems, technology, and human behavior. Which leaves us with a pretty profound question to chew on. How do you think digital capitalism will reshape the future of society? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I sincerely want to thank you for watching and exploring this with me today. This is Orb of Treasures, where we explore AI, digital psychology, technology, business systems, and the future of human civilization. If you enjoyed this explainer, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And be sure to check out more videos on our channel to keep expanding your understanding of AI, automation, online business, and human psychology. I'll see you in the next one. Part